What's up, people? We are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. School is now in session, and oh my god, I believe this video is going to be the Bon Voyage episode, where Lilly goes to Scotland for, at least it's temporary, right? That's the good thing about it, but I think that's the case at least, that this is the Bon Voyage video, because it would be kind of weird, because it has sort of been this event that we have been leading up to for quite a while, and that we've been kind of anticipated for a while as well. And it would be strange if that actual scene doesn't really play out, and then the moment that we're playing through right now is actually just like a couple days later, that they just fast forward through the whole "bye, I'm going to Scotland" bit, which would be a little bit sad, you know, because I really want to see what's happened and just how they leave things, because you definitely feel like, you know, there's this connection, but they haven't really both stepped up to the plate and really came forward with their feelings or something. So it's kind of a scary moment for Lilly to be leaving. So I'm really interested in where they're going to leave things off. So to find that out, obviously we're gonna have to continue. So let us just do that right now. The moment the bell rings out, a collective sigh of relief comes from everyone. Much of the morning's been taken up by a droning lecture on stoichiometry, a topic entirely unbefitting of the insufferable heat permeating the classroom. Knowing that attempting to teach anything more would be an exercise in futility, Muto gives up and begins clearing the teaching materials from his desk for the day. As meaningless banter starts filling the classroom, I notice Hanako getting up and coming to my desk. She's been a lot less withdrawn lately, something which gives me a small measure of satisfaction. I would definitely imagine that would be like quite a good feeling to have, when such a girl that you perceive as to be very fragile and doesn't really open up to people that much. She just rather keeps to herself, and you know, she just seems like a scared little lamb. And if that scared little lamb actually approaches to you, you know, that's gotta be like, oh wow, she actually, you know, I actually kind of mean something to her, and we're like, I think it's safe to say that we're friends, right? So yeah, that's pretty cool. Hello, Hisao. Hey, want to go pick up Lilly then? It's close to the time when she'd need to get going if she's going to make the flight. About that, she said she might be held up a bit by her classmates. I suppose that makes sense. Her class usually gets off a little earlier than ours, so Lilly would normally have just come to our classroom. Her class must be sending her off. Well, never mind. We can wait outside her classroom for once, right? She gives a small giggle before nodding, the two of us taking our things and leaving for 3-2's classroom. When we reach our destination, I stop in idle amusement at the scene inside. One of the shorter girls from the class has Lilly wrapped in an enthusiastic hug, her head no higher than Lily's chin. Her other friends, of which there are several, are gathered around her as well. Lilly simply smiles kindly and hugs her back. I guess Lilly must be pretty popular. Compared to Shizune's harsh but fair dictatorship, how can a dictatorship be fair? I guess, dictatorship doesn't mean that it's unfair, right? It's just that it's one person ruling and solely deciding pretty much everything. But I guess a fair dictatorship could exist, but those really, you know, you never really hear about those. You only hear about the bad dictatorships. So I guess that could exist. But to call Shizune's, yeah, I guess it's somewhat fair, kinda. Oh, no, I wouldn't say it's fair, but just the tone of Shizune's, of Misha speaking, because Shizune can't, is, or at least doesn't, you know, makes it seem like it's fair, because, you know, if a dictatorship, it's obviously it comes across much less harsh and just nicer in general. If a voice like, hello, like that, you know, is the head of the dictatorship, then someone is like, hello, you know, there's a big difference there, even though the only difference is the tone of voice. 3-3. Lilly seems more like a mother figure for 3-2, to say nothing of her height and looks. Genji's pointedly cool demeanor as he packs up his things at his seat in the back of the corner of the classroom is expected. He's no doubt far from a fan of the fuss being made about Lilly's leaving. Looking beside me, and seeing Hanako following my gaze, I decide to finally enter the room. Afternoon, Lilly. It's just me and Hanako. Hanako withers noticeably when exposed to the din being made around Lilly. Try as she might, I doubt she'll ever completely get over her social anxiety. Hello. Lilly manages to work out our position reasonably well, her classmates detaching herself without a second word. A look of slight exasperation is written on Lily's face, though I can't say I blame her. Hello, Hisao. Hanako? Do we have much time before the flight leaves? I give a quick glance at my watch. Taking the trip to the airport into account, there's a good 10, maybe 15 minutes left, while still allowing for contingencies. Yeah, we still have a few minutes to kill. I wouldn't worry about missing it yet. Oh, is this Hanako? Uh-oh. I think we've just inadvertently become entangled in Lily's social web. The girl is probably part of the legally blind faction of the class, like Kenji. Is there a legally blind faction? Wow. Given her almost window pane-like spectacles, her short, roughly cut hair gives her a look that fits her excitable expression. Hello. She takes Hanako's hands and pulls it up and down enthusiastically. I really don't get how girls can be so social to someone they only know as the friend of a friend. While Hanako exchanges nervous greetings, I look around the room for my short and overdressed next-door neighbor. Try as I might, he seems to have slipped out of the classroom without anyone noticing. For a moment, I tried to think of possible career paths that could reasonably benefit from his single skill before putting my mind to more pertinent matters. Lilly seems pleased, if somewhat guarded, about the enthusiasm Hanako's suddenly excited from those around her. She might not see it, but Hanako's much less panicked about the affair than I'd anticipated. Shuffling my way through the gaggle of classmates, I eventually managed to reach her. I imagine that us befriending her and her getting more comfortable around us actually has a lot to do with the fact that she's less anxious and less like panicky around other people or like in a group environments. Because the moment I feel like I personally don't have, I think I don't have social anxiety, but you know, sometimes I just feel like, yeah, I'd rather not talk to people, or just like, yeah, okay, I'd rather steer away from like groups and that sort of stuff. No, I'm just really weird. I don't know. Sometimes I can be really engaging in group activities and just like, yeah, la la la, and just actually be really loud and whatnot. And sometimes I'm just like really quiet and not really say much. So for me, it's kind of weird. But I wouldn't say I suffer from social anxiety, right? It just kind of depends on how I feel that day, or the people that are involved in the group and whatnot. But I think, at least this is my theory, right? That if you have something that's kind of like social anxiety, then like the first person, because she's been comfortable with Lily for a long time, right? But then a new person sort of comes into the fray, which was Hisao. And when she starts slowly, it probably took a while for Hanako as well, but for Hanako to slowly, you know, get comfortable and you know, be more talkative and just be less anxious around Hisao. Like when one person slowly starts opening, when you start opening up to that one person, it becomes a lot easier to open up to other people as well, I feel, you know? It's just that one person kind of has to start it, kind of has to open you up a little bit, and then once you're kind of open, all the other people can just kind of fit in there a bit easier. That's my theory, at least. I could be completely wrong, probably am. Don't worry, Hanako's fine. Thank you. I thought she might be overwhelmed by them. Don't worry, we'll be gentle. Both of us grimace in unison. Hanako's nervous grin stays plastered on her face as another couple of girls moves in to meet her. It's kind of amazing that even just a month ago, she'd never have been able to cope with a situation such as this. Even when I first met her, the two of us completely alone, she sprinted from the library. So, got everything you need? It's all packed. I just have to go by my room to pick it up on the way. And Hanako and I need to change. I guess we'd better get going then. Hanako? Hanako's head flicks up towards us in a flash. her face rather unmistakably appreciating the chance to extricate herself from the small group gathered around her. Why is there a small group around Hanako, right? Not a small group around me, like, ooh, I'm Lily's friend too, you know? No, they all hang around the cute girl. Coming. The long taxi ride to the airport is suddenly or surprisingly pleasant, despite the three of us being rather squashed together to fit in the small back seat. On the other hand, maybe despite isn't the right word. Lily pays the fare to the driver as we file out, Hanako's eyes flittering left and right. Thankfully, there aren't too many people around, most of them being inside the main building rather than milling around outside. Oh, Akira and Hideaki are here as well? Oh, of course, of course. I mean, Akira is definitely expected, but Hideaki's kinda because if Hideaki's here as well, why wouldn't Shizune be here? But I guess that's because Shizune and Lily dislike each other. But the thing is, like, Lily and Hideaki are the same, like, to the same level of, you know, being related to each other as Lily and Shizune are. So it's kind of weird that one of the two is here, but the other one isn't. It isn't hard to spot Akira and Hideaki leaning against the fence while talking to pass the time. A large black travel bag, complete with wheels and travel handles, leans against the fence alongside them. Oh, I am so stupid! Of course, Akira is traveling with Lily, and Hideaki's probably just saying bye to Akira. That's what's going on. That makes a lot more sense. Hideaki's the first to notice us, pointing us out to Akira, who gives an over-enthusiastic wave. Hey! Hey! I grab Lily's travel bag for her as we go to meet the two, earning a nod of appreciation. I've got all my stuff here. You got yours? Plane ticket as well? Don't worry, I have everything. You? Yep, all ready to go. Not without some problems along the way, I might add. The snide remark has his head roughly dragged around by a very firmly clamped on hand. Haha, yeah, I kinda forgot it was in my trousers pocket. Trousers that I put in the wash. Oh no. Don't worry, don't worry. Did you know you can print out the tickets if you order online nowadays? It's really cool. Oh yeah, the internet. What a wonderful place, right? If it works for you. Hideaki's pained expression says that this wasn't a solution found quickly. It could have been worse, I guess. We'd better start off then. Check-in should be ready by now. Yeah, you're right. There's a certain amount of wistfulness in both of their voices. To say nothing of the people left behind, meeting their family again after all these years would be big for them. Oh, Lily's all dressed up. Lily. Hanako wraps Lily in a gentle hug to say goodbye, one which is warmly reciprocated. Lily and I share a brief hug afterwards, each of us saying our goodbyes. Besides us, Akira and Hideaki break off from a small hug and a word or two between them. It would probably look quite nice if not for the almost comical height difference between the two. Lily takes a hold of her sister's arm once all that needs to be said in farewells is said, the two walking past the huge glass doors. Goodbye, Hisao, Hanako. See ya! Don't do anything stupid, shorty! We wave at them until they disappear from sight in the throng of people moving about inside. And then we're alone. Well, that's that. I turn to see Hideaki already beginning to walk off. See ya! Okay. He throws a hand into the air in a manner I'd expect of Akira. In the end, it's just Hanako and me left standing outside. Oh my god. I expected it to be so much more emotional, you know, and kind of, for some reason I had this entire image of my mind that like Lily was going to be boarding the plane and then then Hisao was like standing at the bottom of the huge staircase and he's like, Lily, I'm gonna miss you, and then he's waving and then Hanako slowly comes walking backwards and they you know, share a goodbye kiss and then she steps onto the plane and then see you in 2 weeks. I totally had a picture like that in mind, like really dramatic, really emotional, really, you know, kind of a bonding moment as well, like a sort of a step in for the relationship, like a step in the right direction. But yeah, compared to the image that I had in my head, this seems kind of, you know, I guess a bit anticlimactic, because it's just like, yeah, okay, bye, see ya, and probably due to the amount of people that are here. Well, it's just me and Hanako. I rest my hand on her shoulder. She absent-mindedly gazes towards the front doors of the building, as if she might catch a glimpse of either of the two before they disappear. Don't worry, the time will pass fast. She hesitates for a moment, but eventually nods. With the scorching heat of the summer sun beaming down on us, we make our way to the nearby bus stop. It's strange, really. Just when I'd begun to see Lilly differently, she leaves on what almost feels like a pilgrimage to the past. In a way, though, that's just what I've been doing since coming to Yamaku. As much as I may reflect on everything that's happened to me, I really am hardly unique. Everyone has their own circumstances and separate paths to get where they are now. Yet I still can't really work out how I should proceed. My life may have practically been reset, and I still can't find anything that satisfactorily fills the hole I still feel in myself. Maybe Lilly's leaving will be a good thing for me, without her to lean on. I need to do more for myself. I'll have to be there for Hanako as well. That's true. Like, I feel like a huge part of his improvement just as a person, you know, and the acceptance of the entire situation is largely due to the fact that he has kind of this safety net with Lilly, right? But now that Lilly is gone, it's like a little baby cub that has to start walking on his own now. It kind of feels like that a little bit. So yeah, we'll do fine though, right? We have Hanako, exactly. Although it's kind of like two cubs running around like, where's Lilly, mommy? It feels strange to have so much changing so quickly after my months in that hospital that seem to exist so separately from reality. But that's all the more reason for me to keep focused. I can't let any opportunity slip out of my fingers in my attempt to rebuild my life. Act 3. Present. She was holding someone's hand. Whose hand was it? Lilly, are you cheating on me? Of course not. We're not even in a relationship yet. I rest my chin on my hand as I absent-mindedly look out of the window. Yet another of Muto's lectures droning on and on as if it were endless. The summer sky is almost alluring in its bright cerulean splendor. Only the odd passing cloud breaks up the deep blue expanse. This feeling of longing is probably the outdoor side of me yearning to escape. Nakai, could you answer this? That side of me lost to the past now, though. In that case, I think it should use the "and" suffix. Correct. Moving on, the suffix for... As my attention towards Muto slips once again, I spot Misha giving me an enthusiastic thumbs up and nod at her to settle her down. How much time has passed? It's been a handful of days, exactly. Just as I asked the question, they decide to answer it. Thank you. It's been a handful of days since Lilly left for Scotland. Days which have passed relatively peacefully. Handful is about 5, right? Life largely continued as usual. In contrast to what I'd expected, while thoughts of her have danced around on the edge of my mind since she left, present events managed to subdue them, at least for the time being. So I find myself idly chatting with Hanako, as usual, when lunchtime finally rolls by. Are the later ones in the series good as well? Oh, that's true, right? Hanako, despite like the fact that that's another thing that I'm really interested in when we're going to be playing through the Hanako route, is that both Hanako and Hisao have something in common, right? They really love to read, actually, and they like. It's almost like if they were more like now it really feels like they're a more outgoing version of themselves. But if they were like the less outgoing version of themselves, the more loner type, then they would probably be in the library a lot. So this is something that they do have in common. So despite the fact that Lilly is not here, it's something that they can both bond over, and it's something that we can bond over as well, especially during the Hanako route. But that's gonna be happening later. Not really. You're probably best off just sticking to the original. His later books didn't live up to it, other than maybe God Emperor. Thanks. I wasn't really sure if... Oh no. As Hanako steps to the side, I see Shizune stride up in her typically business-like manner. Dictatorship in action, flanked by her ever-present bright-haired shadow. Try as I might, I can't read any hint of her intent from their faces. Shizune's poker face and Misha's seemingly boundless cheerfulness are a devilish combination. Morning, Shizune. Misha... Hi. I accentuate the greeting with a nod to Shizune in order to get the point across. She promptly and curtly returns the gesture to both of us. It's been a long while since I've really talked to either of them. For a while, I thought they might be avoiding me, but I eventually came to the conclusion that Shizune isn't or really isn't the type to do so. Morning! Shi-chan says that Muto wants to see you sometime. Because of this statement, my face contorts as if I'd just eaten spoiled food, giving Misha no end of amusement. Anyone think you are in trouble, Hi-chan? You may not be aware of it, but you have the least to worry about out of anyone in the class. With an unexpected vote of confidence, even Hanako nods hesitantly to affirm the point. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. There was something I wanted to ask you, though. And what might that be, Hi-chan? I have a feeling this won't go over well, but here goes. Is there any reason why you and Lilly don't get along? It seems like even a little civility would help you both in your duties. Shizune's cool stare after Misha happily signs the words stop me in my tracks. In hindsight, I really could have worded that better. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Hanako move back. Just a little, like, uh-oh, Shizune's about to explode. Take 2 steps back out of the explosion zone. Thankfully, Shizune notices this and lets her temper dissipate as she forcefully runs her hand through her hair to let off steam. Perfectly on cue, Misha begins interpreting the second Shizune's arms begin to move. I would say that such matters aren't relevant to you, but since you seem to have befriended Lilly... She pauses to adjust her glasses, evidently attempting to articulate her point in the best possible manner. While I assume the same of her, I cannot call my own views on the matter unbiased. Suffice to say, we were closer before than we are now. What happened between them then? Chizune makes a quick gesture to Misha to stop her from interpreting, then has a quick meeting with her before proceeding. The fact that the two can communicate so easily, yet so secretly, right in front of us, is slightly disconcerting. Hanako seems to share my curiosity at the proceedings, looking on with thinly masked interest. As they finish their opaque conversation, Misha looks slightly deflated. I guess her opinion on the matter wasn't followed. Shi-chan says you should ask Lilly about it, as she doesn't want to be the one that gets you involved. Oh well, I'll just have to ask her after she gets back. At least I got some information out of Shizune. The two of them have been on close terms, meaning that they weren't always at each other's throats, or at least not quite to this extent. I understand. Thanks anyway. And that also means that something must have happened, right? You can't, it doesn't just go, it doesn't happen naturally where you're actually kind of close with a person and then for some reason you start hating each other. That doesn't happen. There has to be a specific reason for it, whether it's like an event occurring, somebody wrongs the other person or something, or somebody thinks they wronged the other person or something, you know? Something has happened for sure. With a nod and a farewell, the two break away and walk out the door. No doubt headed straight for the student council room. Could have gone worse, I suppose. Hanako lets out a long breath, relieved at the confrontation's resolution. I can't say I blame her. I'll see you later then. Yeah, I'll meet you in the tea room. See ya. With that, she waves and joins the trickle of students leaving the classroom. Nakai, could I speak with you for a moment? Could it be about, does he really want to start a science club again? Is he that desperate, Muto? Delivered in his typical monotone manner, he apparently decided that I need a reminder to see him already. Eventually, I finish packing up my things. By the time I reach his desk, the classroom is close to empty. Yes, sir. He looks up, taking measure of my face before giving an awkward, rather obviously acted chuckle. No need to feel guilty. You're not in any trouble. I just want to ask you something I've asked a few of the other students so far. Haha! Oh, so what you're saying, huh? Is that I'm not the first choice? Is that what you're saying? That's something at least. For a moment, I thought my maxim of keeping my head down and pen up had failed me. So, what did you want to talk to me about? To start, what do you think of your progress in this class so far? Good? Bad? I detest that kind of question. For a fair amount of time, I tried to think of a response that is neither pathetically humble nor cocky. I'd say I'm doing okay. The work doesn't seem too hard, and I'm doing better on the test than I thought I would. That's a good answer. A correct one, too. I give a mental sigh of relief at his satisfaction. To say that I don't gain a little pride from his comment would be a blatant lie. In the maelstrom of thoughts clouding in my mind after learning that I'd be transferring to Yamaku, my school grades seemed utterly unimportant. Being entirely clueless as to what skill level would be assumed of me once I actually got here, I was hugely relieved when I found out that I understood well enough the schoolwork we'd be doing. I know your circumstances might have thrown a wrench into the works, but have you given any thought to your future? My future? He's doing it again. You're doing it again, Muto. What'd you like to do as a profession? Do you have any thoughts of where you'd like to be in 10 or 20 years? I really dislike questions like that. Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? I can understand, I guess, that it's a broad question to sort of like set a goal for yourself in the future. Like, nobody ever reaches that exact goal, right? That they have, of the image that they have of themselves in 10 or 20 years. But it's just something that some people need something to look forward to in life and something to work towards, to have some sort of motivation and inspiration at the current moment to actually, you know, improve things in your life and to work for something. That's generally what those questions are aimed at, but I really dislike when they're just like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? When they put it in like application forms and all that stuff or something, I was like, oh my god, do I really have to answer it? And then just write a bullshit answer and like, yeah, I'll see myself in 5 years. I'm running the entire company. Peace out. I wouldn't be surprised if you covered this ground in your previous school, but I don't have any record of it if you have. I suppose that last year of high school is the time when students would need to be thinking about such things. To be honest, I really haven't lent it much thought compared to my immediate situation. Catching on to my thinking, Muto speaks up. It's okay if you haven't decided on anything specific yet. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of your classmates were still undecided after all. Maybe pursue one of your talents. He's rather obviously trying to squeeze an answer out of me, and something about his previous wording makes me suspicious. He didn't seem to be intent on asking everybody like this, so he must have some kind of selection criteria. And I guess, our grades in his class. Well, something in science might be the path of least resistance. His face brightens. He's like, oh yes, I got him. It's like he was throwing his bobber into the water and just waiting for one of the students to actually mention science. And now he finally caught someone. He caught Hisao, like, yes, I got one. Reel him in, bring him into the science club. His face brightens, no doubt pleased at the thought of a prize student following his subject as a career path. I mean, that's true, right? I can imagine as a teacher, you'd kind of feel like you did a good job at teaching if one of your students would decide to pursue the subject that you're teaching as something that they want to do with in their life later on. I can definitely understand that there must be some sort of feeling of pride in there as a teacher, you know? To like, oh yeah, I actually did a pretty good job teaching then, or I made the subject interesting for that person. Good. Having a general idea is the first step. I would advise you to think on it though. I will. Things are kinda settling down, which will help. Good to hear. Oh, and I've noticed that Ikezawa's attendance and grades have improved since you came to be friends. I'd like to thank you for that. I guess Ikezawa is, Hanako? I'm surprised you noticed we knew each other. He gives a chuckle, as awkward as his smile. This guy really has no idea how to properly act around others. At least not without drinking, right, Muto? Every facial movement seems like an act of careful but misdirected choreography. You could say that having a general idea of who knows whom is a part of a teacher's job. Catching himself before he goes off on a tangent, he loudly coughs into his hand. I'm sure you have things to do though, so I'll stop there. Please, do think about where you're headed from here, as long as you don't have to go before you finish high school. I will. Thanks. The brief talk ended. I take my leave. He goes back to fussing with the teaching materials on his desk. This is one of the times I'm envious of Lilly, almost maddeningly so. To have one's future so clear and so assured, yet working towards it from such a young age, exactly. I envy those people. It's an idea so utterly irreconcilable, I probably butchered that word, with my own thoughts, mired in the present day, just as they've always been. Oh my god, please come back soon, Lilly. I hope she's gonna be back in the next video. I can't take more of this Muto crap. Well, I'm going to be ending the video here. I mean, I still think we got a couple of while to go. Maybe one more video without Lilly, I think. Considering the beginning of Act 3 kind of took like a handful of days after Lilly's departure. And I think she said she would leave for around 2 weeks, right? So 2 weeks, 14 days. Yeah, correct math. So 9 more days to go or something at the maximum, I guess, or minimum, whatever. Oh, Lilly. Not that it's bad without Lilly and only with Hanako, but you know, I just feel like she left at such an inopportune time that it just almost feels like, oh, why did you have to leave, Lilly? Or at least why now? But oh well, we'll be seeing her soon. I'm pretty sure about that. Although I'm gonna be really interested into what's going to happen then, right? Because she has met her family then. Meaning something, you know, there's probably some things that either that we will notice that there's something wrong with her, and she's either going to be very open about it and talk with us about it and tell us about it, or she's going to be really closing it off from us and keeping it a secret, but we can still tell that she's sort of like not feeling that great or miserable or hurting or that sort of stuff, you know? So I feel like, yeah, as pleasant as this route has been so far, I think that the moment she returns, I think it's actually going to take quite a turn for the worse. Maybe. I'm hoping not, of course, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to check out the next video. So thank you guys very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more, and I hope to see you all then. Peace.